On 15th December, Pastor Jerry still mentioned, growth and tumors in your body, let them get out. I received it. Then on 31st of December, during morning prayers, Pastor Jerry mentioned, he said, I hear it again, tumor in your pituitary gland, let it be reversed. This was the second time. No, this was regarding the issue particularly. This was the second time. I took it. I went for crossover, added it to that 31 prayer points, prayed about it again. And then on 14th January, the third time, he mentioned it again. I knew at this point that, there's no way that growth will still be there. There was just no way. At this point, I did a mashup because I was recording all of it. I did a mashup of all the declarations and I was listening to it. And then on 19th, he still said, tumor in your body, every tumor, every growth in your body disappear. I received it. Then on 20th of January, that was the day I was going for the brain MRI. I was listening to Nsppd that morning, and Pastor Jerry mentioned it the fourth time. My name is Anya Olagunju. Good morning, Pastor. I've seen the God that sees me. Sometime in May, June last year, 2004, my son started having the constant urge to urinate. He's just 5. And even when he empties his bladder, he will still feel the urge to urinate. And so sometimes he'll just go to the toilet, urine is not coming out, but you see him pushing, or maybe just 1 or 2 drops of urine will come out. And he was going like 5 to 6 times in an hour. So, we went to hospital. We kept going in and out of hospitals. They did a lot of tests, urinalysis, kidney function test, urine culture, and one of the doctors said maybe it was because of the cold during the raining season, and that after the rain, because his body might have been retaining moisture, and after the rain, the urine will normalize. So we waited till after the raining season, but it continued. It was affecting his school. Some people were even saying it's just children's thing, but I knew it wasn't normal. I wasn't okay with it. So in December, we went back to the hospital and they referred us to a urologist. And when we saw the urologist, this was 5th of December, when we saw the urologist, he said my son had overactive bladder. Meanwhile, all this while I had been praying about it, putting it on the fire altar. But when the urologist said he had an overactive bladder and that he would prescribe drugs for my son, I knew in my spirit that I didn't want my son taking that drug. But I still got the drug and even read up on it. And it's a drug that, from what I read, it's not really meant for children. If a child has to take it, he has to take it under strict medical doctor's prescription. And so I just knew it. It confirmed it in my spirit that I didn't want my son taking that drug. So I really started praying. Like I was praying before, but I knew I had to pray. I really started praying. And on 7th December, that was the anniversary. That day we wore purple and white. I was in the overflow that day and I was crying to God and praying. And there was this testimony of one lady on Nsppd that came to my mind. I can't exactly remember what her issue was, but she said that day she was in the overflow and she said, God, I am on holy ground. I'm dropping this issue here. I'm not going back home with it. So that was what I said that day. I prayed it and said, I'm on holy ground. I'm not going back with this. So we went home. I noticed that there was improvement. But from time to time it had improved, but he was still going. And when he wants to go, I say, sit down there, you are not pressed. We've left this thing in church, you are not going. Especially when I knew he had emptied his bladder. But I kept praying because I wanted it solved completely. And for the first time I went for crossover live. I used to listen to it on TV, but that day I needed to be there. There was so much I needed to pray for. So I went to crossover, and it was one of my prayer points on that 31 list prayer points that Pastor Jerry said we should do. And I prayed about it. By 1st of January, I was monitoring this boy like a hawk. He was fine. He wasn't going to the toilet. 2nd January, nothing. He was just going normally, like he will go empty. I was following him into the toilet. So I saw he wasn't pushing. He was just urinating normally. And he wasn't going often like he used to. He was fine. Until today, he's been fine. I asked him in school, how often do you go to toilet in school? He will say, no, he just went once. he's been fine till today. To my second testimony, I have truly seen God. Like, I've been on this altar since 2021, praying about a lot of things, but this one. In 2023, I started having sharp pain in my right scapula. And it was affecting my neck movement. I went to the hospital. They did an x-ray and said I had cervical spondylosis. And I started going for physiotherapy. They told me to adjust my life, just gave me some lifestyle changes to do, which I did. But the pain kept coming and going. They said it was causing nerve compression. It just kept coming and going. And every time when I feel it so bad, I was on a neck collar for a while. When I feel it, I'll go back physiotherapy. Through 2023, 2024. In 2025, it was so bad. I started feeling pains in my right chest. The pain was extending to my right chest. And I decided to go and see an orthopedic consultant. When I went, he referred me in another hospital. When I went, he referred me for an MRI, a cervical MRI. After I did the MRI, I saw the doctor for the review on 29th October 2025. And he said it wasn't cervical spondylosis that was causing the nerve compression and all that. It was a growth at the base of my brain, which was affecting my pituitary gland. So, and he was like, it's just a simple surgery that would remove it and all that. It's not a big deal and all. I said, okay. I went outside. I sat in my car and cried very well, because when you hear growth, next thing they'll say cancer or this or that. When I was done crying, I knew I had to pray. I called my sister. She's an Nsppd and in Kaduna. And as soon as I told her, she started rejecting it. And I just knew it was time. Like, I'd been praying about cervical spondylosis and all that, but I knew this one, it couldn't go further. So I really started praying. This diagnosis was on 29th October, on a Saturday. And I kept telling God, man would not operate on my brain. I didn't want a human going into my brain. So if a surgery was needed, God would do it. I kept praying about it. And then, this was on Saturday. On Tuesday, the next week, that was I have my dates here. 2nd November. Yes. 2nd November. Pastor Jerry, in fact, that day I was listening, but I went offline. There was no network, so I went offline. But my sister was listening. And he said, tumor in your pituitary gland, the devil is a liar, let it be reversed. My sister sent me a message. In fact, her message was screaming, the tone of her message, Anya, Pastor Jerry has mentioned your case. As soon as I got network, I listened to it, and I recorded it and grabbed it. My husband was asking me, won't you go for a second opinion? I told him I wanted to pray for a while, at least 2 weeks before I go for a second opinion. So I took time praying. Within that period, Pastor Jerry will say, any tumor in your body, any growth in your body, disappear, let it out, just grab it. And then I went to National Hospital on, I think 5th December, and I saw a team of doctors there, and they referred me for a full brain MRI with pituitary contrast. So, and they told me to come back on 27th January for review of it. On 15th December, Pastor Jerry still mentioned growth and tumors in your body, let them get out. I received it. Then on 31st of December, during morning prayers, Pastor Jerry mentioned, he said, I hear it again, tumor in your pituitary gland, let it be reversed. This was the second time. No, this was regarding the issue particularly. This was the second time. I took it. I went for crossover, added it to that 31 prayer points, prayed about it again. And then on 14th January, the third time, he mentioned it again. I knew at this point that, there's no way that growth will still be there. There was just no way. At this point, I did a mashup because I was recording all of it. I did a mashup of all the declarations, and I was listening to it. And then on 19th, he still said, tumor in your body, every tumor, every growth in your body disappear. I received it. Then on 20th of January, that was the day I was going for the brain MRI. I was listening to Nsppd that morning, and Pastor Jerry mentioned it the fourth time. Like, for the fourth time, growth in your pituitary gland be reversed. I took it. And I was confident, like there was no way growth was going to remain. I took it and I went for the MRI and all that with the pituitary contrast, did it. And then, this was 20th January. And then the report came out. They sent the report to me on my phone. I saw it. It was clear. Like without the medical terms, I had to even put it online to be sure that, to interpret it before I saw the doctor. I wanted to be sure. It's just, then I went on 27th to see the doctors. They looked at it and told me there is no growth in your pituitary gland. No growth. Like, when Pastor Jerry said, how will you shout? I was in a trance, like I couldn't shout. It was like, it was like, I wasn't even myself there, like they were talking about another person, because this thing had made me scared. It had, and then I forgot to add, when this thing was happening, I was having excruciating headaches. My eye sockets would be paining me, my jaw. Some mornings I'll wake up and I wouldn't even feel like getting out of bed because of the pain. But, I had to go to work, just live my life and continue. And so I was just managing it. But I noticed, the word kept coming in. And I noticed, like, by second week of January, for a while, I hadn't experienced any pain. That was before I even went for the brain MRI. I hadn't experienced any pain. That pain that used to reach my chest, I just noticed it wasn't there anymore. The headaches, it wasn't there anymore. So I went to the doctors and they said nothing. Like, I went outside. I kept telling myself, Anya, you are free. I felt like I'd been given a new lease on life. Anya, you are free. I had to keep reminding myself and telling myself, you are free. You are fine. Like, sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, you are free. I kept telling myself that I really want to thank God for healing me, for what they saw before they did not see again. Like, I want to thank God for it. Pastor Jerry, God bless you. May God, this work you are doing to your descendants unborn, they will enjoy the blessing of this labor. May God bless you. I pray that you continue to be a man after God's own heart. That when you are done from here, you will rest. When you finished your assignment in an old age, you will rest in the bosom of God in a gold-gilded mansion. God bless you.
Streams of joy, can we rise to our feet and give Elroi a mighty shout? For when we trust in his mercy, we will see his salvation. For he sent forth his word and it healed and it delivered. If you are believing God for any testimony, carry it in the name of Jesus. You will go back and check and they will not see it again.